It is Monday, January 1st. Happy New Year. In this video, I'm going to track 13 stocks with some gaps to the upside and to the downside. Some of these stocks I've talked about in the past that have not closed out the gaps that I'm tracking. And I do have two new stocks to talk about because as they close out, I pick new trades for the week. So first up is NVIDIA. We ended the week at 495.22. The gap that I was tracking starts at 497, closes out at $500.82, and we touched this line but did not close out. So I will be tracking this gap to the north side through the end of this week. And to the south side, there's a gap that starts at 487.68, closes out at 483.87. Next up, Lowe's. We ended the week at 222.55. To the north side is this gap that I am tracking, starting at 223.22, closes out at 225.33. We did touch it, but it has not officially closed, so I will, again, track this through the end of the week. And to the downside, there's a gap that starts at 220, closes out at 202. Begins at 220.02, closes out at 215.55. Something to keep on your radar. We are not in that channel yet, but overall, the channel is in a downward trend on the 5 minutes, so it could get there this week, but definitely not on Tuesday. Nike is next up. 108.57 is where we ended it. There's a gap to the north side that starts at 110.15, takes us all the way up to, let me move this. I have to grab it at a certain spot or it will not cooperate. Let me move this one back right there. So to the north side takes us to 122.40. We are not in this channel. We are not in the zone just yet, but we are in an upward channel. Nike tanked, and hopefully there is some upside potential with this, but we do have a long ways to go for long-term investors. But right now I'm just playing this gap, telling you about this. Takes it again up to 110, starting at 110.15, closing out at 122.40. Ignore all those other lines. Those are previous support and resistance lines that I track. Oracle is the next one. We ended the week at 105.43. And I've tracked this for several weeks now because the gap that I am tracking begins at 114, closes out. Oh, wait a minute. It begins, at 104.89. Let me move this out of the way. There we go. 104.89 roughly. Just do this. I'll delete that. And then closes out again at 114.90. We are a long ways off, but it could take us on Tuesday to 106.20 if we're lucky. But again, we are in a downward channel. The market is flipping on us. Next up is Starbucks. We ended the week at 96.01. The gaps I am tracking begin at 96.85 and closes out at 97.64. Actually, let me just do this. There are a couple stocks that I need to clean up. There's so many I've gone through already. And next up is BABA. We closed two of the three gaps that I was tracking last week. So the gap that remains to the upside starts at 77.69. We ended the week at 77.51. That gap closes out at 78.46. There's another gap to the upside that I will not be tracking as part of this gap and go trades for this week, but I may add it to the list down the road. It's not in our channel, but if you go big picture, you can see that gap. Actually, I'll just show it to you right here. It takes us to 82.90, so some upward price targets, fortunately, because I know a lot of people are in the hole because this stock tanked. Now, a bunch of landmines to the south side. This one closes out at 76.12, 74.83, and this one to the downside at 72.54. We are not in that channel, not in the zone. Unfortunately, we are in an upward channel with BABA on the 5-minute. Next up, this one looks like a hot mess, right? This one is Schlumberger. I am tracking a couple of gaps to the upside and to the downside. We ended the week at 52.04. This gap starts at 54.40, closes out at 56.93. Again, we're not in that channel just yet, something to be aware of. And then there's a gap that takes us down beginning at 49.80 and closes out at 49.22. Next up, Altria Group. We ended the week at $40.34. Oh, see what TradingView just did? It lost one of my deviations here, so let me re-add it. This is why I do not like TradingView. When I make quick movements, see, I can't even get it to click on. Yeah, I have to reset this. Let me see if this one will do it. Nope. Let me get out of it, go back. So there we go. Let me see if it, nope, it won't pop up. That's a bummer, but that's okay. That's not the point. I'm not giving you price targets for the following day. All I'm doing is giving you targets for the gap. All right. 40.34 is where we ended. There's a gap to the north side starting at 41.35, closes out at 42.40. Next up, I'm in this trade. Unfortunately, I picked the wrong one the first week I started this gap and go trades, and we've been going down. We ended the week at 34.83. So what I'm going to do is close out this and close out that. Basically, I know price stays within -2 and 2 standard deviations all day long. Anything outside of that is an outlier and a buy and sell signal for me. But anyway, to the north side, there's a gap at 35.65, closes out at 35.81. We are a long ways off, but something just to be aware of. Next one up is Pfizer. I'm in this trade for my mom. We ended the week at 28.79. There's a gap to the north side starting at 29.05, closes out at 30.35, and there's a gap to the south side here that closes out at 27.06. I was just marking this out. And the next one at 26.01. SoFi, many people are in this trade. I am as well. We are at 9.95. There's a gap that takes us starting at 11.10, closes out at 11.29. A couple gaps to the downside. This one closes out at 9.36 there. And this one closes to the downside at 8.96. Next one is NEO. We ended the week at 9.07. Right. I'm still trying to get over a cold of mine. 9.07 is where we ended, and The gap that I'm watching starts at 961, closes out at 1030. If we get to this level, I do plan on selling some shares. And finally, the last one is Nokia. Ticker symbol NOK. We ended the week at 342. This is where we are, basically at the middle of the trend. The gap that I am tracking starts at 349 and takes us. Oh, wait, I'm sorry. It closes out at 304. It begins right here. It's kind of wonky. If you go back, you can see this gap, this stock is full of gaps. So if you like to trade gaps or see that there are lots of price targets to the upside and to the downside, going short, going long, like plenty of opportunities in this one. For instance, this gap, let's see. If you were looking at this right here, started, this gapped down, so what goes up must come, what goes down must come up, and this I know will close out. Here, I'll box this out. Turn on my magnet. Sometimes it's hard to grab there. So a gap down, I know there's going to be a gap trade to the upside. And it touched right here at 317 and then went up to resistance at 322. And what happens at resistance? The price falls, and it's exactly what happened. So plenty of trades in Nokia. But that started, see how it dropped down? So what goes up, what goes down must go up. I need to end this video, it's too long. Right there is the gap down, so I anticipate it to go up, and that started on Monday the 4th, and we finally are getting close. I hope to close this out this week. We are in an upward trend, so hopefully closing out maybe by Thursday if we stay within this projection. And that gap started at roughly, let me turn off my magnet, change that out. It started at 324, closes at 349. All right, that is a look at your gap and go trades for this week. And 2 of them are new gaps that I'm tracking, and the rest of them, again, are older ones that I have been tracking. And the new ones are Nokia and Pfizer. Thank you so much for watching.